It is Friday, September 12th, and we need to talk. This is Driving Thoughts. Today, Nintendo had a Midtendo Direct. Much like every other Nintendo Direct, it was a nice chunk of time where we had a healthy mix of, let's say, life sims. Not a lot of life sims in this one. There's always life sims in these because, all these devs think we need more cozy games. And I do need more cozy games, but not that many cozy games. This was a weird one. And you can tell that we're still in the land of hedging our bets when it comes to the Switch 2. The first 10, 15 minutes of the Direct was Mario in relation to the Mario 40th anniversary. We had some interesting announcements, including a bit of a diatribe about the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which was an interesting extension from the first one. There's a lot of games between the first couple Marios and Mario Galaxy, so I thought maybe they'd wait before they jump the shark and go into outer space. But not really much more detail that they provided beyond that on the movie. Confirming, of course, that Chris Pratt, Anna Taylor-Joy, Charlie Day, and whomever else are coming back. So I guess that's good. They talked about focusing more on accompanied, music rather than the licensed stuff. That's very good and a sore spot for me personally from the original. So neat stuff. The rest of the Mario 40th anniversary was kind of anemic. They had Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 coming out as a package for $70. I know there's probably a little grumbling about that, but they're two very good games and substantive games. So I don't feel too much frustration about that. It was kind of funny how they went from that to basically saying, hey, if that's not enough Mario for you, look at all these other Mario games that are on the Switch 1 but aren't exclusive to Switch 2. Oh, and here's a Super Mario Bros. Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 edition with some further DLC, which, full cards on the table. I thought that was a pretty mid game out of the 2D Marios. A lot of clever, fun ideas, looked beautiful, but gosh, that badge system just ruined what makes a Mario game great. And then they end it with saying this is one more Nintendo Mario announcement with a Yoshi game. A Yoshi game. Like that ain't Mario. Come on, get out of here. That ain't Mario. So weird messaging on that front of things. And then we have also just a weird... There's so many more Switch 1 games on this. And it goes to show you that Switch 2 is really an optional console right now still, despite it having the Gamebuster sales, despite it being loved on the internet and all that. They are hedging their bets so much with this. And we're beyond this is the console window period. The original Switch was out for like 7 or 8 years. They were originally talking about a successor to Switch before COVID. And so we're talking about an extension of an old console that they were able to breathe in new life and extend it because of, in the business sense, fortunate timing that there was a pandemic and everybody was at home wanting to play video games. And I don't get why they don't have more to show. They had a new Fire Emblem, which is great. I love Fire Emblem. They had some new horror game announcements and more cool stuff like that, but then it's just a bunch of ports. Final Fantasy VII, great get the remake for Switch 2, but if you play games at all outside of Nintendo, you have had access to that for forever. And you get like Resident Evil, cool, this is the big boy stuff that you want, right? But it's also like we have access to those still. And I don't know how many solely Nintendo players there are that wouldn't have already wanted to and gone out of their way to get something to play those on. So it all comes off as very limp-wristed. It comes up as soft. It's soft. And, some of it might be the kind of hubris that Nintendo gets sometimes where they feel like they can coast and rest on their laurels, which works until it doesn't. If you looked at the Wii, that was a perfect example of that thing selling gangbusters and then just dropping like a stone in sales. And when you're in a situation where the Virtual Boy, Nintendo Switch Online, with a $100 stand that's a replica of the most garbage stand you'll ever have the misfortune of using, we're in a bad spot. This is not a great spot to be in as a fan of Nintendo and as somebody who owns a Switch 2 and wants to see more new, exciting stuff. We're getting the also-rans, and that doesn't feel good as somebody who plunked $500 on a system who wants to have something to play. Give me a Mario. Give me some new Zelda stuff. I know that they're resting on their laurels with that too, with the Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild re-releases. But there's two perfectly good remakes from Wii U that has not found its way onto a Nintendo console lately. The Twilight Princess HD and the Wind Waker HD stuff, which the Wind Waker HD is some of the most beautiful cel-shaded art as well. So these are missed opportunities for them to be really highlighting some cool new stuff. So yeah, that's sort of my quick take of what we're looking at when it comes to Nintendo Direct and the future of Nintendo in general. I don't suspect this is going to hurt their sales per se in the immediate term, and there's always the opportunity for them to have another Direct or one-off showcasing a game. But we've already seen what the lineup is going to be for this fall. And as somebody who likes Nintendo and is looking for something unique to play on the system, that ain't it. So go ahead and sound off in the comments about what you think about the Nintendo Direct, what I said, whether that car that just flew by me was annoying or not. And like and subscribe. I guess I'm supposed to be doing that. I don't care. Do what you want.